Welcome to the conference final NHL Stanley Cup playoff preview show. I'm extremely excited to get to talk to you. Thank you so much for even just tuning in so far. I'm gonna start out. I'm gonna go through a little bit of what I've seen so far in the playoffs. Maybe talk about some customized stuff, and then we're gonna check in with Jacob Stinson from Smashville's Finest. Bring him in on the phone and talk to him a little bit, and then we will finish up this video. Not going to be too long today. I am pumped to be where we are right now. You see the Nashville Predators in the Western Conference Final versus the Anaheim Ducks, and you have the Ottawa Senators in the Eastern Conference Final against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, Nashville is kind of this wait, what story in these playoffs. 8 seed knocking off the number 1 Chicago Blackhawks, not only knocking them off, sweeping them, and then going in and beating the hard, physical Blues, who had knocked off the Minnesota Wild in 5 games. Man, that was a great story for Nashville to get them here. They've had time to rest, relax, and then you look at the other series where the Ducks swept the Flames, and then they beat the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games. And the Oilers were a great story, beating the Sharks and getting in as such a young team, as such a good team. They're going to be great in the future. Be ready to watch out for Connor McDavid and Draisaitl and all those guys. Cam Talbot, fantastic team up there in Edmonton. Their fans are going to get annoying, but they're going to be there. And they're going to be fun to watch for a lot of years. But so you have Nashville and Anaheim there, and that's going to, in my opinion, this is going to be one of the best series. It's going to be hard-hitting. It's going to be physical. It's going to be violent. You're just going to see a whole lot of things in this series that are just going to be dirty. It's going to be a fun first conference final for the Nashville Predators. They made history. Went over to the airport today, sent them off. You could just tell there was an excitement level in the players, and it's in everyone. Everyone in this city and Nashville, Tennessee is excited about this chance for something new. Over in the East, Ottawa to me is like, what? How are the Ottawa Senators in this conversation right now? And Ottawa found a way to beat Boston, and then found a way to beat the New York Rangers. And they did that. And I'm going to be honest, I was shocked. I didn't think they deserved it. But I'll tell you who did. It was Erik Karlsson. We'll get to him in a minute. He has played absolutely phenomenal, and Karlsson has been the reason, in my opinion, the Ottawa Senators are in this right now. You look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins knock off the Blue Jackets. That was easy to call. Man, that feels like forever ago. Does it not? It feels like years ago that they were playing the Blue Jackets. And honestly, for the Blue Jackets, that's sad, but not many people expected. I think a lot of people expected the Blue Jackets to win, but I did not. I expected them to lose pretty badly. And then you go on to the Washington-Toronto series, and Toronto had a chance. Those games went to overtime, and man, if Toronto could have just pulled that series out, that would have been phenomenal. That would have been, think about how fun that Pittsburgh-Toronto series would have been. I would have loved it. I would have loved to have watched the Toronto fans, because they were fun to watch in the playoffs. I'm not going to lie. They were awesome. Everything up there with Maple Leaf Square, everything like that. It was a neat environment. But anyways, the Pens win, the Caps win, and those two go at each other, and they go to Game 7, which I didn't think it even should have gone to Game 7. It was lucky to even go to Game 7. And I look at this whole situation, and I feel bad for Alex Ovechkin, because the guy can't beat Crosby. He can win, he's a winner, he's a good player, but he can't beat Crosby. And you just wonder, is Crosby that good? And I know Crosby isn't everything, but at a point it's leadership. At a point it is leadership. And Crosby has that leadership that maybe Ovi doesn't have in the finals. And that's a big deal when it comes down to it. So I look at that series, you know, you have this upcoming series between the Pens and the Sens, and you got to give it to the Penguins, right? I'm saying like in 5. Not a sweep, but in 5 games. I think the Penguins are going to win this. I don't think it's that close. But then again, the Senators are playing really well. I look at the Western side of things, Nashville, and Anaheim. I think this is a 7-game series. I think Nashville finds a way to pull it out. I just think that we're clicking on all cylinders right now. For me, in the Conn Smythe race, it's in between Getzlav, Carlson, and Rene. And I just think whoever gets there is going to be the one who gets it. And I don't know who will get it on Pittsburgh right now because nobody's really shown me, like, hey, we are the best. But definitely someone will win it. It's going to be a tight Conn Smythe. Right now, I think it goes to Rene, and I'm not being a homer. It's either Rene or Carlson, in my opinion. Carlson has been phenomenal, but I don't think the Senators are going to get to the final, so I think I need to give it to Rene. All right, we will make a call to Jacob Stinson of Smashville's Finest and get a few takes from him on what's happening in Nashville right now. Let's see how this goes.
Hello?
Jacob?
Yeah, what's up, man?
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. We're here. We're videoing for this video talking about the conference finals. And really, I just want to get your take right now. You're from Nashville. You've been have you been to all the playoff games in Nashville so far?
Yeah. Yes, I've been to games 3 and 4 of the Chicago series. I went to all 3 against the Blues.
Awesome. What is something that you've noticed about just Nashville so far in the playoffs that is insane? Because this city has really, it's been neat to see how many people have come together and supported the team. But what have you noticed about this city during this playoff run that's maybe different than years in the past?
Well, I know firsthand, just, walking down from wherever we park, just walking down Broadway, you can just see just the energy that this town's getting with this playoff run. And, you walk all up and down Broadway. There's people without tickets to the game when we're playing. And, every bar on Broadway's got the game on. There's people watching, people going crazy. But even inside Bridgestone Arena, man, I mean, I know it's the most cliche thing you can say, but you really can't explain how a Predators playoff atmosphere is until you actually go to a game yourself. I know whenever Johansson scored the go-ahead goal in Game 6 against the Blues, I mean, I looked around and, people were hugging. I mean, I was hugging people I didn't know. Me and my dad, had a big embrace, and especially at the end when we clinched it. It's just really like an inexplicable. You just really can't describe the atmosphere without, actually yourself going. But it's just awesome seeing this whole town embrace hockey. I know a lot of the news stations recently has talked about how, just a decade ago, there was a ownership group trying to move us to Canada. There was those cities in Canada that they were trying to move us to. They were selling tickets. It looked like we were going to lose our hockey team. And just to see how far we've come in 10 years, it's just amazing. And I hope this run just keeps going and we get go all the way.
Yeah. Definitely. Now, I was at several of the playoff games last year, including the game 4 versus San Jose, where Fisher scored in the triple overtime, and that was a big moment. But to me, this playoff run feels even different than that one. Why do you think that is?
Well, this year compared to last year. Last year we were going back and forth from, California all the time. I know we've talked about it a bunch. The travel really got to that team last year. Granted, last year was the farthest we ever gone. We won 7 games. We were one bad game against San Jose away from going to where we are now, the conference final. Just this year, we got the experience on our belt last year. We wished it would have ended better than it did. But, the experience last year, I am a firm believer, is what has catapulted us this year and having the ability to, shut the haters up and really tell the hockey world that, we're here to stay. We're here to be a contender on a year in and year out basis. And just the leadership on this team. You got a veteran like Mike Fisher on the team who he may not be getting his top 6 minutes anymore like he did when he was in his prime, but his leadership abilities are really, you can tell that they're having a huge impact. And someone like PK Subban, who is we dealt Weber for him in the offseason. Everyone knows that, and just seeing his presence here in Nashville off the ice, I don't think we've ever had a more vocal leader on this team in this city for a game of hockey until we do now with PK Subban. So, I just think that the leadership on this team is crucial, and you can just see the players feed off the crowd when they're at Bridgestone, and even when they're on the road, they know that they have the support back home, and that, they're giving it their all 60 every period, each 20-minute period, 60 minutes a game. So it's just really cool to see how this team has just come together and really peaked at the right time. We may not have had the greatest regular season, but we're peaking at the perfect time, and that's really all you can ask for this time of year.
Yeah, definitely. And I look at it too is another thing that I think this town has blown up on is this. Last year we thought we could do it. This year it's we could do it. I feel like this year there's a feeling like this is the best team we've ever had in Nashville, and this is the best this team has ever played, and it's going into the Western Conference Finals of the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's pretty neat. All right, I want to get your take. To me, there's 3 guys right now who have a chance at the Conn Smythe. It's Ryan Getzlaf, Pekka Rinne, and Erik Karlsson. Out of those 3 guys, say they all got to the Cup final, or up to this point, let's just say up to this point, who do you think has been the best of those guys in the playoffs? Or do you have another guy who you would say would be a good Conn Smythe winner?
Well, I guess for the one player from the team of those 3 that you didn't mention, I would say that Evgeny Malkin would definitely be getting some consideration with his stats. I think he has like 15 points in 10 games or something, so he's averaging a point and a half per game. But I do think that the 2 front runners right now are Erik Karlsson and Pekka Rinne. They are so valuable to their teams. I think we would have had a chance against the Blackhawks and the Blues if Pekka Rinne wasn't putting up these big numbers. But he's putting up these big numbers. He's got over a .950 save percentage through half the playoffs. I think he has the best stats through 2 series wins for a goaltender since 2006. I can't think of the goal off the top of my head. He was for the Flyers, but I do think right now it has to go to Pekka Rinne, just for the simple fact that he held the Chicago Blackhawks, the best team in the Western Conference, in the first round, to 3 goals in 4 games. 2 of those goals were in 1 game, so he gave up 1 goal in the other 3. So he's playing out of his mind right now. If he can just be even like close to how good he was in the St. Louis series, I know we can't expect him to do what he did against Chicago again, but if he can just stay around like a .930 save percentage against Anaheim, I think we definitely have a good chance of advancing, especially considering he's going up against John Gibson, who has really struggled. But for Erik Karlsson, he has willed the Ottawa Senators to where they are now. So I think both those players have their own set of capabilities that really contribute to their team's success. But I think right now it has to go to Pekka Rinne. And obviously we're biased because we're Preds fans, but I've seen a lot of articles in the hockey media, and they're all in agreement that Pekka Rinne right now, the season, the playoffs ended today, he would probably be a unanimous selection for the Conn Smythe Trophy winner.
Definitely. 2 more things, and then we'll wrap up. What has been your biggest surprise of the playoffs so far? For any team?
Obviously, the Predators, for a lot of people, are the biggest surprise, but, I always knew the Predators had the ability. So I'm not going to go that route. I would definitely have to say it would be the Ottawa Senators, just for the simple fact, coming into the playoffs, they had a negative goal differential. And I do remember when we did the preview for the playoffs back in beginning of April, I remember you saying that you had no faith in the Ottawa Senators, and I agree with you. I was like, I don't think they can beat Boston. I think, Boston was coming in on a hot stretch, and they took care of Boston, and then they come and play the Rangers, who I thought the Rangers were going to win that series pretty handily, especially considering they were coming out of the Metro and they had more points in the regular season than the Senators. But they've just gone about their business. They've handled both those opponents. So I definitely think it's the Ottawa Senators. They still haven't convinced me they can compete with the Pittsburgh Penguins, but they've proved us wrong before, so I wouldn't count them out in that series.
Definitely. That scares me. All right, one more thing. Have you been growing a playoff beard?
Okay, well, this is going to be a disappointment to you, Ben, I would think. So I didn't shave through the first 2 rounds, and then yesterday I looked in the mirror. I was like, this is so bad. It's so patchy. So I ended up shaving yesterday. So I guess if we struggle in this next round, you'll have a scapegoat for that.
Yeah, maybe I could shave now, trim it up a little bit and still blame everything on you.
So now you got a person to throw the blame at.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking and just getting some hot takes from you on this. Always appreciate everything that you have to say for this channel.
All right, thanks, Ben. And as the famous Carter Hutton made famous, thanks for having me, man.
You have a good one.
You too.
Bye. All right, that was Jacob Stinson of the Twitter's Smashville Finest. We're thankful that you watched today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you gained some knowledge or just enjoyed a little bit of it. You guys have a blessed rest of your day, and go Preds as we go throughout the rest of this playoffs.